Welcome back. Okay, so before we start on this section, I want to make a few quick notes. The descriptions that follow are simple working models that I've created and used and still use for my own self-directed brain change and emotional self-regulation work. It's an accumulation of the understanding I've gained from the research papers, journals, and books that I've read, as well as all the courses, trainings, and lectures that I've attended or completed. Of course, like any other learning, this is my take on it and doesn't include all there is to know about the brain or the emotional response system. There's probably someone out there in academia that could correct me on some of the details, but I'm not trying to relay academic precision. I'm trying to relay a conceptual, practical model that you can actually use. Using this model helped me to get the results that I wanted: a growing anchor of inner calm, a collection of effective, actionable self-regulation and brain strengthening tools, and the integrated life that supports both my work and my marriage. And if you've hung out here for the entire class, that may be just what you're looking for too. So my goal is to provide general and functional understanding so you can see that lasting integrative brain change is totally doable. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go slowly, but this is where it all comes together and is super important. So do your best to stay with me. So let's begin by using a flow graph to go over how the stress response system is designed to operate. Imagine you're having some level of a stressful experience right now. It could range from a barking dog, someone shouting at you, or as intense as witnessing a horrible accident. Information from your eyes, ears, nose, as well as facial expression and body posture are relayed to your brain. The survival hub of the brain and your filter kick in, focusing on and streaming in only what it's learned is important or is a priority to watch out for. This conditioned filtering comes from both lifelong repetition as well as the reinforcement of the meanings or beliefs about the situation that are unconsciously stored in our memory. The coordinator and the conflict manager co-activate, noticing that something different and unexpected is happening and assessing possible responses. If stress encounters in your life have been chronic and the coordinator is used to making quick decisions on its own without the conflict manager's intelligent input, it may not even consider other options. At the same time, the amygdala's label maker is also trying to interpret the situation and assign a meaning, accessing memory or that unconscious reference vault to see if you've ever experienced something similar before. Do you already have a meaning assigned? How did you previously respond last time this happened? Do you already have an established emotional response pattern, one that the brain can just activate again quickly and efficiently? While all that is happening, the body alert center has simultaneously signaled your body to slowly start releasing adrenaline. Your accelerator system starts to turn on, and your body begins to prepare in case it needs to fight or run from potential danger. Next, one of two things can happen. If the stress is mild and the conflict manager is strong and involved, the workroom can intervene, offering critical thinking and perspective, which will lead to a rational and more helpful behavior choice. However, if the stress level is high and the conflict manager is weak and you're not paying attention to your body response, the workroom is quickly ignored by the coordinator and its access becomes blocked. Now, if that happens, the already engaged body alert center goes into full throttle accelerator mode. You're now in fight, flight, or freeze survival protection mode, and you literally can't think straight. Without the skill of self-awareness, this can happen almost instantly, even before you can intelligently assess the situation and make a conscious choice. Now, I want to remind you of something here. Your intellect can also be accessed, even in highly stressful situations, by using learned self-awareness skills and intentionally giving the workroom a few moments to engage. This is what's meant when someone says, give yourself time between feeling something and doing something. Now, if a strong emotional response goes unmanaged and lasts for a while, cortisol gets dumped into your system. This hormonal release is great for getting more glucose to your brain. But a dumping of cortisol also curbs our immune system and stalls our growth processes. Why does it do that? Because the brain is responding to what's been conditioned to view as a real life threat. So, in other words, to your brain in that moment, it's more important to get glucose up to your brain so you can figure out how to save yourself, even at the expense of your immune system or health, which really wouldn't matter if you're dead, right? But the issue is that our body and brain have been conditioned to respond this way, even when we're simply being criticized or disapproved of, both of which are definitely highly uncomfortable, but neither of which would actually kill us. Those emotional responses, although natural, are not relevant or proportionate to the current environment. It's responding from a stored conditioned pattern that was created in your past. This is why unmanaged chronic stress can negatively impact your health. It's dumping excessive cortisol into your system, curbing growth, and impacting our immune system, even when situations are not life-threatening. Now, once your cortisol level drops, either because the activating stimulus goes away or because we intentionally call in our braking system with movement or deep breathing, a calming neurochemical called acetylcholine is triggered and released. Now, this neurotransmitter decreases our heart rate and dilates our blood vessels, giving the workroom time to get back online and offer up a more intelligent behavior. And if you don't catch your behavior in time, hopefully you're at least self-aware enough to quickly apologize for anything you may have said or done while your emotional response took over. Okay, one more time faster. Situation happens, our senses deliver filtered information about the stressor to the survival hub of our brain. The conflict manager notices. The body alert system tells the body to start its slow drip as the coordinator checks to see if we already have a registered meaning, if we believe it's threatening, and if we have a pattern of response. It finds it and directs the body to act the same way as it did before by either braking or telling the body alert system to go full steam ahead with acceleration. And all of this is dependent on what was found in the brain's unconscious memory vault. The coordinator is so quick at all of this that the conflict manager never got a chance to suggest a different behavior. Why? Because considering conflict solutions takes time and more energy. Even more energy if the conflict manager is already weak and hasn't been exercised in a while. Are you starting to see how weakness in this area of the brain can impact the activation of your stress response? If the conflict management area of your brain is not a strong player, it's going to get walked all over by the coordinator. And so we repeat the conditioned pattern of action, which reinforces the coordinator's energy efficient choice to replay it, which then gets sent back to the packing and shipping center to get stored again in memory for the next time. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So this is how the human stress response or emotional response system generally operates within the brain. And what we just went over a moment ago here is simply the brain science explanation to the same process we talked about earlier from a psychological standpoint, when we discussed emotions, feelings, and how they relate to our conditioned memory vault of behaviors and our behaviors. It's the same message, different language. See you in the next video.